Just a couple of years ago, I remember feeling that there was a lot in my life that I wanted to do. I wanted to get good grades, I wanted to be a good athlete, and I wanted to have a good career. But none of these things came true at that time. Because I could not get myself to work towards them. I would waste my entire day procrastinating, scrolling through Reddit, reading about conspiracy theories. And then each night I would actually feel guilty about not living up to my potential, only to have the cycle repeat itself the very next day. This went on for years and years, and I finally passed away at the age of 55. Obese, sweaty, addicted to fast food and porn. But wait, that is not how my story ends. I made a comeback. I got the career that I wanted, I got the grades that I wanted, and I finally became the athlete that I wanted to be. I hit every single goal that I had 5 years ago. In this video, I'm going to share with you the strategies that I used to go from a lazy person who was always procrastinating things to someone who was now highly productive and disciplined. The biggest difference between me then and me now is the brain fog. Back then, I always felt like I was just floating through life, kind of confused. I would read the same sentence in a book over and over again and still wouldn't be able to comprehend its meaning. And I kind of thought that all these things were normal. Fast food, porn, doom scrolling, all these things had always given me comfort in life, and I had used them as a coping mechanism to escape from negative feelings. But after using them for a while, I realized that I could no longer think straight. I now understood that if I wanted to achieve any of my goals, I needed to get my brain back. I had a level 0 brain thanks to all these bad habits, and I decided to quit them all cold turkey. I'm not going to lie, the battle of quitting these highly addictive things was not easy. But with tools such as fasting, meditation, journaling, habit building, I was able to build the discipline required and finally quit these behaviors. Just 2 months after quitting them, my productivity went from 30 to 40 minutes to literally 6 to 7 hours a day. Once my brain started working optimally, I realized that I was no longer lazy. I actually enjoyed doing the things that I would previously procrastinate. Another key difference between me back then and me now is that back then I was living life impulsively. I used to go to bed at random times, wake up when I felt like it, eat whatever I wanted to. And back then I used to think to myself that, whoa, this is so great. Look at the amount of freedom that I have. But it's now that I realize that this was no freedom at all. When I was living life this way, even when I wanted to do something productive, I just could not get myself to do it. I always felt like there was this big barrier between me and the productive activity, and no matter how much I wanted to do it, I just could not. And that is when I started asking myself, is living life this way truly free? Or had I now become a slave to my very own mood? During this time, I also read this book called Atomic Habits, and in this book, the author spoke about living your life based on a system and having a day-to-day routine. So later that night, I started designing my own routine. I listed down a bunch of activities, and next to each activity I noted down the time when I'm going to perform that activity. And to my surprise, I was actually able to successfully do a lot of these things on my routine, because what happens is when you add this specific time for an activity, then your brain no longer has to make any decisions. You just need to wake up and see what's on your routine and just go do that. You don't need to think about the 1,000 things you could be doing. And when you're not making these decisions, you can now use that energy to actually do the thing. And back then, a routine always represented like a prison sentence to me. Like, okay, once I start living my life based on a routine, I can never do anything fun or spontaneous. But turns out that thought process was so wrong and detrimental. Just because you have a routine doesn't mean it has to be all work. I routinely schedule fun activities in my routine. A routine should never look like a prison sentence. It is supposed to look like a day that you're looking forward to. But the thing is that despite knowing that routines are great, you are still going to have trouble following a routine if you do not design it right. So make sure that you watch this video to design a routine that you will actually follow.